Are the critics being too hard on Triple G? Okay, so I watched the Triple G versus Canelo fight yet again, and I saw the same thing. I saw Triple G winning the fight as well as trying to make the fight as fan friendly as possible. When he says he does it for the fans, I truly believe him. I believe he had every intention of making it a war. And so by now, I think I've heard everything as far as Canelo didn't engage because he wanted to outbox Triple G. Canelo looked like Mayweather. Why can Mayweather get the win when Canelo can't? He made Triple G miss too much. The scorecards reflected defensive scoring. And to a point, I guess all this can be true. But I kind of didn't want to do anything on this, but it just seems like Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith are so biased. And after watching the fight again, I just completely disagree with their opinion of the fight.
Triple G may have been showing his age. Maybe it's that when you fight Danny Jacobs, second best middleweight in the world, when you fight Canelo Alvarez on that night, second best middleweight in the world, it's different than fighting just regular top 10 guys. You don't look like the same kind of world beater. Maybe it's that combined with the fact that he's 35. But Stephen A., when you're fighting a great counterpuncher, if you want to win decisively, you got to fight the way Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. fought Edwin Rosario, who's a much bigger puncher than Canelo for a lightweight, you know? Mm-hmm. You have to be able to willing to put your nose in there, risk getting knocked out yourself, which is humiliating, especially when Triple G's worked his whole life for this moment, in order to pin the guy on the ropes and keep working him. And when Triple G got Canelo to the ropes, he still boxed from a distance because, you know, he has an Eastern European influence in his style too, not just Mexican.
Now, he actually said willing to put your nose in there. Kellerman felt that GGG was not willing to engage or actually risk getting knocked out. Here you could see Triple G taking Canelo's best shot. I mean, Canelo loaded up with a lot of his shots, and he did land a lot of his shots. If this is not putting your nose in there, I don't know what is.
But let me ask you this, Max. Was it that, or was it the fact that he tasted some of Canelo's power? Because Canelo came in there bigger and stronger than he had ever looked in his career, as far as I'm concerned. And by the way, showed an ability to actually take a punch from Triple G.
No
it was
doubt.
inviting the punches, inviting them.
No doubt. But let me ask you something, Stephen A., because you and I used to chop it up in the when we had side-by-side shows in New York about NBA, about boxing all the time. I know you know your boxing, and you go way back with boxing. Do you think Chavez felt Rosario's right hand on the way in? Damn right he did.
Yes, he did.
Marvelous Marvin Hagler felt Tommy Hearns
in the first round. He definitely did. In the first round, he definitely did.
If you want to be a great pressure fighter, and Triple G talks about Mexican style, and I love Triple G, I'm a huge Triple G fan. But if you want to win your super fight that way, you have to be willing to take those risks.
As we all saw Triple G move forward all night, definitely don't agree with that assessment from Kellerman. GGG obviously loves tasting shots, not only Canelo's, he loves tasting everybody's power. He always seems to let his opponents hit him just so he can taste it. Do I agree with him doing that? Not necessarily. I mean, it only takes one shot. Plus, when he lets people hit him, the judges obviously are going to score it as they see it, which is him taking punishment. But to think that Triple G backed down because of Canelo's power, in my opinion, is BS. I mean, you can see from this shot right here that Canelo hit Triple G perfectly. I mean, he would probably drop the majority of middleweights with that shot, or at least severely stun them. But I mean, just look at this. GGG somehow walks right through that punch. It doesn't even seem to faze him.
You might get knocked out. You know, that's a risk you have to be willing to take. And what I noticed before the fight was you could see in Triple G's locker room, I brought it up on the broadcast, he'd never been on this stage before. And you could see Canelo had. And you brought this up when we were previewing the fight on First Take. Would that play a factor? I think the answer was yes.
Okay, so I'm calling BS on the locker room talk too. I mean, both fighters probably were nervous. Canelo has been on a bigger stages, multiple, I guess, plural. He has been on bigger stages, but to me, Triple G just looked excited to get out there. Even in the fight, you can see Triple G loves to fight. He's just smiling. I don't think he was nervous. I think he was excited. He was tired of the talk and he just wanted to get out there and fight. Again, I don't agree with Kellerman.
It's interesting that you bring that up because you sound like you walk away from this fight thinking it's a learning experience for Triple G. He could potentially be better. My attitude is I would pick Canelo in a rematch. And the reason why is because he made Triple G look so slow. Max, you and you had CompuBox to lean on, and you still can't tell me you can count the amount of right hands that Triple G missed in this fight. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, and why wasn't he throwing them to the body?
Yeah,
when
true.
you throw to the body, you take the risk of getting countered upstairs. But if you throw to the body as heavy-handed as Triple G is, maybe you score the knockout late. That's what I mean about willing to take risks.
Surprise, surprise. Did he really look that slow? I mean, yes, he is getting old. He's probably beat up his body severely in training. He's 35, 36 years old. But the fact of the matter is, anyway, the way I see it, he still won the fight.
So a lot of people, I think, will favor Canelo in the rematch, particularly because the rematch isn't going to happen at Cinco de Mayo if there is one, right? Canelo's done fighting for the year. He fights twice a year, Cinco de Mayo, Mexican Independence Day, because those two dates indicate that you own boxing in North America. That's why Floyd always liked those dates. Those are now Canelo's dates. He's going to fight him in a rematch if it happens, I would assume, Cinco de Mayo. Triple G is going to be 36, pushing 37 at that time.
Well, when is Cinco de Mayo? What's the date of Cinco de Mayo this year, next year? Can you tell me that?
It's somewhere around May 5th, wow. I don't know, whatever that Saturday, right, as close to May 5th as possible. So
Now, is that a serious question? When is Cinco de Mayo? I mean, does Steven mean which Saturday in May is Cinco de Mayo being celebrated? Or does this guy think that Cinco de Mayo can actually fall in October or November? I mean, Stephen A. is Floyd's biggest fan. He should know exactly when Cinco de Mayo weekend is.
But the real question to me is, remember the line from The Untouchables when Sean Connery told Kevin Costner going after Capone, what are you willing to do? Before the Mayweather fight, when I heard Freddie Roach and Manny's game plan, I thought, what's going on? You think you're going to set traps for Floyd Mayweather, tactical traps? What that tells me is you think essentially you can outbox Floyd Mayweather. Floyd, you might trap him once or twice, but when you don't knock him out, he's going to adjust and outbox you. That's not the way you beat Floyd. If you're Manny, you beat Floyd going in knowing you're going to risk getting knocked out yourself. You're going to go all out to go get him, the way Chavez went and got Rosario, the way Hagler went and got Hearns. You're either going to do that or you're going to lose, right? So listen, when guys get older, Stephen A., we see it in the NFL all the time. Marcellus used to tell me, you get to a certain age in the NFL, you're just not willing to run through that brick wall again because it hurts. Well, is Triple G at the age where he just doesn't want to do that because it hurts? Because if he fights Canelo again the same way, maybe he wins the same way and gets another draw or a close loss or maybe a close win. But is that why people want to see Triple G? Or do they want to see Triple G because he knocks guys out, because he goes out and gets them? So I think he needs to have a coming to Jesus moment before the rematch.
Again, like I said before, Triple G did risk getting knocked out. Also, like I said, Triple G is smiling because he loves to fight, not because he's hurt or he fears getting hurt or he's so old that when you hit him now it hurts. It's obvious the dude just loves to fight.
And when he and Abel Sanchez talk Mexican style, really think what that means. Because what Triple G told me, and again, I'm a huge Triple G fan. Not only do I love to watch him fight, he's a great guy to deal with outside the ring. I have genuine affection for this guy as a person and as a fighter. By the way, as I do Canelo. But he's going to have, when he tells me in the ring after the fight, I was expecting a Mexican style, big drama show, and he didn't stand, and he moved. What do you think he's going to do? Triple G's a hunter. Of course you're going to move away from that guy.
Right. But
your job is to make him stay in one place and beat him up.
Now listen, everybody knows when fighters fight to not get KO'd, it's very difficult to KO them. To me, Canelo did not go for the win. He fought to not get knocked out. I mean, it was a great fight. Canelo did very well. But his primary objective was to not get knocked out. I mean, that's how I see it. He was backing up all night. He was trying not to get knocked out. Yes, he's a counterpuncher. But the same criticisms they're applying to Triple G could also be used on Canelo, excluding he's getting old. You can't say Canelo's getting old. He's just coming into his prime. But all these criticisms that they're giving to Triple G, they could give to Canelo. So I don't know if they're unjustly criticizing because Canelo's the future of the network, or because they truly felt because he didn't get the stoppage, somehow Triple G was not living up to his potential, or I have no idea why they're so heavily criticizing Triple G here in this interview.
So who would you pick in a rematch?
It's early to say.
I know it's early. I know it's early. You reserve the right to change your mind. I'll give you that.
Because Stephen A, HBO would prefer it when I do, if I'm working the fight, not to pick the fight,
I know.
To give the impression that I biased. So.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is this. I totally understand. I apologize for the question. I was just thinking of based on what we saw from Saturday. In other words, the boxing expert that you are, based on what you saw Saturday, how would you view? That's right. Who would be the favorite?
How would I see the favorite? It's going to sound like a cop-out answer. I'd have to hear what they tell me before the fight.
That's fair.
If I hear from Triple G,
right,
we're going to do the same thing that we did and blah blah blah, then I would make Canelo the favorite. If I hear from Abel Sanchez and Triple G, we learned a lesson in the first fight.
Mm-hmm.
When we say Mexican style, we're looking at Julio Cesar Chavez, because Triple G still got a lot of Eastern European flavor in him. When he gets you on the ropes, he still wants to throw those straight shots up the middle from a distance.
Right.
But if I hear from Abel and him, it's Chavez time, then I like Triple G.
And lastly, why would Triple G and Abel Sanchez tell Max Kellerman's biased ass their game plan? Anyways, that's just my opinion. I know this is a older interview, a couple days after the fight that Kellerman and Stephen A did, but just after watching the fight and thinking about it again, I just couldn't understand the unfair criticism that these two gentlemen have for Triple G. Anyways, just my thoughts. Take care and have a great day.